Hi, y'all. Welcome back to Life After 18. I am so happy to be here. It's been a while, I think. Okay, maybe just a minute. Anyway, I want to talk today about whether or not you feel like all grown-ups are experts on everything. I used to think that when I was growing up. You'd look at your parents, your uncles, your teachers, your aunts, grandparents, whatever, and if they were older and you'd ask them a question, they always had the answer. They seemed to just know everything. Well, what made me nervous about that recently is that my mom passed away, and now in our immediate family, it's just my brother and I. And I keep thinking that all of a sudden we're supposed to be experts on everything because now we're the grown-ups. We're the ones left. Kind of weird, right? Well, I've come to realize that that didn't just magically happen because mom passed away. It's like, oh yeah, the stuff is a combination of all the things that you've experienced and that you've done throughout your entire life. And everybody has different experiences, so they have different knowledge on which to base whatever their expertise is. So, one of the things, the reason this is coming up is one of the things that I've noticed a lot of people who are older than me do a lot of posting on social media, which is great. Where I take issue, I guess, is when they use a lot of words incorrectly. It's the grammatical errors and the spelling errors. It just makes me nuts. I'm sorry, this is a pet peeve of mine. And so I'm finding out that a lot of people aren't all of a sudden just experts because they're grown-ups. Yeah, and I guess I knew that about myself. A lot of crap I don't know. But I do know grammar, and that is probably because I've been a writer, wow, since about 1985, I guess. Yeah, it's been a long time I've been writing. And I read a lot too, and maybe that's where I've learned all the things I know about spelling and grammar. I read a lot of books. I love to read. My kids will tell you, oh gosh, don't let mom get a hold of a book because she'll be solid with her nose in that book for 3 days until she's done with it. But I learn a lot about grammar just because of what I'm reading. Not that they're books on grammatical stuff. No, no, I like, fiction, murder mysteries, romances, historical romances, stuff like that. So I read probably, people would call it trashy novels. But the murder mysteries are great. Anyway, before I get off on that tangent, my point is that grammar is very important to me. Spelling is very important to me. And I notice that when I read a word that is either used incorrectly or spelled incorrectly, I cringe inside. And when I see a post written by somebody that generally I admire, maybe because they're older, maybe because they have different world experiences than I do, and I think they're experts on certain subjects, I see those posts where they make grammatical errors, and I swear it kills their credibility like that. I think, you might be an expert on that, but maybe you failed English or grammar in junior high, I think is when we learned that. That's when it was really pounded into me. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. And that compels me, since I've been seeing this a lot lately, that compels me to give a few little lessons on some of the most common grammatical errors that I feel that can kill your credibility. Now, one of them I'll tell you right up front, and I didn't have it on my list. I have my list of 5 things here. Anyway, I didn't have it on my list. A lot of people are saying there is all the time, every situation. Now, there are 2 verbs here. And did you hear what I just said? I said there are 2 verbs. The verbs are and is. Is a singular, are is plural. So when you say there is a lot of people here, oh, I'm going to cringe because there are a lot of people. People is plural, are should be plural. There is one person, sounds right because there is only one person. Is singular. You're talking about one thing, one subject, one item, whatever it is. When you're talking about multiple things, multiple subjects, there are multiple subjects. There are a lot of great movies on TV. There is one in particular that I really love. And there's your clue. When the word one follows the word is, then you're good. But if you're saying there is multiple, there is lots of, there is a lot of plants, there is a lot of ways you can do this. No, that's all wrong. There are a lot of ways you can do this. There are a ton of plants in your garden, whatever it is. So are and is. See, did I beat that dead horse or what? Anyway, that's my biggest pet peeve because a lot of people are doing that. I see newscasters doing this, which just blows me away. Communication is their job. They have one job, and their verbal communication skills are screwing it up. See, verbal communications are, not is. So anyway, that's it. I'm done with that one. Now the next one. There, and there. There are 3 different ways you can say that. Oh, wow. And this one is probably the most misused one as far as grammatical errors. There, and there. Here they are. They are. That's the first one. They are. If you put these 2 words together with an apostrophe, it is, whoa, T-H-E-Y, apostrophe R-E. That's one way you can spell there. If there's an apostrophe, or if you can say it in 2 words, basically, this is how you say it. There are. So, that's number 1. Wow, my marker is being a real pain in the butt here, isn't it? Okay, the next way you can spell it would be T-H-E-I-R. There. That means something belongs to someone. It's their house. They own that house. It is their house. It is their car. It is their computer. It is their child. So something is belonging to someone here, and that's when you use their garden, their house, their I don't know, I can't think of what else. All I'm coming up with computers because I'm sitting here in my office, but I hope you get the idea there, okay? And that last one, I hope you get the idea there. I said it, I used it. Do either of these spellings sound like that's going to work? No, it doesn't. So you have your third option. When either of these 2 aren't working, your third option is this one. Just there. You could use that as a directional thing, like, over there. There are multiple things in the room. There are multiple things going on. Okay. So in that case, it doesn't belong to somebody, and it can't be split into 2 words like they are. All right. So that's the first one. Hopefully it makes sense. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the next one. These 2 words. Your and your. Okay. If you can split it into 2 words, you use it with an apostrophe, and you spell it with an apostrophe. Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. That's the first way you can spell it. You're doing this, that, and the other thing. You're going here, there, and everywhere. You could still say you are doing this, that, and everything, or you are going everywhere, or you can say you're. The other one, though, again, is if you own something, kind of like their, it's their car. All right. This would be your. It's your house, it's your computer. Okay, so that means you own it, whatever it is, or the subject in your sentence, whatever is, they like to say it's possessive. This is a possessive. Kind of like this is a possessive. Number 2 right here, okay? Somebody owns something, and that's what this is all about. Somebody owns something. It's your money, it's your car, it's your house, it's the eraser, in your hand, your body parts. Okay, so that is you own something. It's yours. All right, the other one, it's just a combination of two words being put into one word. So that's it for that one. These are pretty easy, right? I am always surprised how often these get mixed up when people are writing. Okay. Oh, now we have some fun ones. 2, 2, and 2. I always enjoy this. It seems like whoever made up all these rules, they give you a couple of choices that make sense, and if there's nothing else, then they give you the third choice that just kind of works for everything else. Okay, so 2, 2, and 2. We'll start out with the easy one. 2. It's a number. Number 2. I'm always surprised how many people leave out the W for this one. Just don't, okay? The other one is 2 with 2 O's in it. That one equals the word also. Or there's another way to use this. It's not always just also. It's in addition to. Oh, let's see if I can fit that in there. Okay. Oh, my handwriting's getting kind of crappy on this board. So 2, also in addition to, or it's kind of a long ooh if you're saying something is too long. Or I've been gone. Yeah, too long. I don't know how else to say that. So hopefully that helps you with when to use 2 O's instead of just 1 O. Because if these two don't work, in addition to that, you have the word to with just 1 O. It's kind of like if you can't use the other 2 in a sentence, then you have your third option. It's like, well, if nothing else fits, just use this one. It's kind of the default, okay? But it's not really the default as in you can't use this in every situation and have it make sense. It's like whenever these don't work, use this one. That's just how it is. So hopefully that helps you with the 2, 2, and 2s. Let's see what other trouble we can get into. Ooh. My last 2. No and no. Any parent will know, as in this one, what this one means. But I see these get mixed up a lot. They're not as bad as there, and there, or yours and yours, or is and are. But they still get mixed up a lot. No is just no. It's the negative. It's do not do this. No, that is not correct. No, don't run out in the street. No, you can't drive my car. No, you can't have cakes and cookies. See, every mom knows this. Probably every parent knows this. And knows, the second time I'm using that word, put a little S on it, is kind of an abbreviation for this word, so you'll know. Knowledge. You see how it's got that word know right in it, right there? Okay, that means knowledge. Somebody doesn't know crap. That's K-N-O-W. Somebody knows their stuff. K-N-O-W. Nothing negative about that. I mean, well, I guess in that case, if they don't know crap, that is really negative, right? So that's all about knowledge, what you know or what you don't know. All right. This is all about, think of parents telling you no all the time. So Those are the most commonly misused group of words that I see all the time on social media. And it, oh God, it just makes me crazy. And you see, I said those are. And you don't say there's lots of places to go, because that means you're saying there is lots of places to go. And lots and places are both plural. So there are a lot of places to go. Yeah, see how that works? Anyway, I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps you out. I hope it doesn't, just kind of piss you off because maybe I'm criticizing you. I have no idea. Anyway, when you turn 18 and you get out into the world, and maybe you have a job that requires certain skills. That would be verbal speaking skills, or verbal skills. I'm sorry, that was redundant. Verbal skills, or that would be written skills. Written communication skills. Boy, I'm really losing the words here. I got so stuck on those words, I forgot my own words. So, your job requires verbal communication skills and written communication skills. In English, that means you need to be able to write emails to your coworkers or even text messages. You may need to give presentations to your boss, to your peers, whoever it is. And you want to sound intelligent. Not only do you need to know your subject matter, but you need to use proper grammar. You also need to do that, like I said, if you're writing, like I did, you're writing manuals, you're writing memos to people. Again, one grammatical error like that is going to kill your credibility. And I'm not the only one that gets hung up on typos and grammatical errors. There are a lot of people out there who do. There are a lot of people who've been out there doing this a lot more than me, and I'm looking for the lid for my, crap, I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. It's black. It kind of blended right in. Anyway, a lot of people out there who have been doing this a lot longer than me. They've been giving presentations. They've been writing memos. They've been writing manuals. They've been writing, tips and tricks and things like that for years. And then all of a sudden you come along and you write in your little 2 pages or whatever it is, and somebody sees 3 or 4 grammatical errors, and I'm going, God, this person doesn't know crap. Did they not pass English and grammar in, like I said, junior high? What's up with that? So it just kills it. Most people, when they see that, they really don't want to read anything else that you've written. Now, I read a lot of books, like I said, and every once in a while, out of 500 pages, I'll find one typo. 500 pages, the odds are pretty good that they just overlooked it, maybe missed a key on the keyboard or whatever. So I let that go, and especially with some of my favorite authors, because I know they're good. Anyway, so it's real important. And I don't know these days if enough importance or enough weight has been given to that subject, because so many people just don't seem to care. They overlook it. So many people make these same grammatical errors all the time. I don't know what the deal is. I think it should be given more weight. I think also, if you're making these mistakes on social media, and especially if you're looking for a job and you turn in your resume, and hopefully that doesn't have any of this on it, employers are going to be looking at your social media, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. They're going to. And then they're going to start seeing things like that. I don't know how much weight they're going to give to that, but I will tell you, I'll get back to that resume thing real quick. If you've got typos and grammatical errors on your resume, and you're applying for any kind of job that requires written and verbal communication skills, I don't know that I'd give that resume a second look myself. Yeah, anyway, enough of that one. Next thing I want to get into is calculating percentages. Ooh, I'm going to need my whiteboard for this one. We have a lot of notes. I remember I used to teach Microsoft Excel. I taught it for many years. Before that, it was Lotus. That was the big one. I don't even know who owns Lotus anymore. Is it still around? And then there's another one out there called Office Libre, and they have, sorry, I got that itch. They have a spreadsheet as well. All three of those are similar. Office Libre, Excel, and Lotus. They're all similar. And I'll tell you what, quite honestly, my phone keeps going off. Some text message. Anyway, quite honestly, and I lost my train of thought on that. You know what? I really need to turn my phone off, don't I? This is really bad. Because it's just too distracting. There we go. All right. When I was teaching these spreadsheets, what I found out is all of them are quite similar. Oh, and that's what it was. Quite honestly, if you go into word processing applications like Word or WordPerfect, or I used to teach one called AMI Pro. A lot of people don't hear about that. And again, in Office Libre, they have their own. Even Google Docs has one. That's right. Google Docs has a spreadsheet application. I think they call it Sheets, something like that. Anyway, they all work basically the same way. In these word processors, you can do formulas in those if you know how to do it. You can usually set them up in a table and you can add columns and numbers and that type of thing. But you can also calculate percentages. And a lot of people, they would come into my class saying, oh yeah, that's the one thing I need to learn in basic Excel is how to calculate a percentage. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because there are a lot of commercials on TV these days that talk about inflation percentages. Oh, inflation is only, up 23%. I'm sorry, but that's a lot. And I'm sorry, but it's up a lot more than that if you think about how you learned how to calculate percentages when you were in school. This probably came along, I'm guessing, somewhere between junior high and high school, but we'll say high school for argument's sake. Algebra, you definitely had to know how to calculate percentages, which kind of makes me think, wow, so many people come into my class and they didn't know how to do that. They didn't understand that. Okay, if you don't use it in real life, why would you remember that 10 years after you graduate? That is fair. The only reason I'm pretty good at it, or I remember it, is because I've had to teach it since I was in my mid-20s. So if I had forgotten it, it sure came back to me. Well, I'd like to give you a little reminder. So then, hopefully that will prompt you to question some of the numbers you hear on the news or various media outlets about, oh yeah, the inflation rate is only 23%, or it's only 10%, or it's only 8%. It's like, where are they getting these percentages? I'm going to the grocery store and I'm seeing that the cost of a lot of things have tripled and quadrupled. The other place where I see this, and you're going to see this a lot, you think, oh, who cares about this? See, like I did out of high school. When am I ever going to use percentages? You don't ever use that in real life. Well, you kind of do. When you go to a restaurant and you are expected to tip a certain amount, and that's based on a percentage. Oh, well, you should tip, 15 or 20 or 25%. Now, some restaurants, they have those little computer things where they show you what 10% looks like, or 15%, or 20%. And I remember the first time I looked at one, I thought, who did the math on this one? That's not right. Who's setting up the calculations on this? They're really off. They are usually higher than what they should be if somebody actually did the math. So let's take a look at the math. It's really not as complicated as one might think. This might surprise you. All right, I'm going to put this lid down again and hopefully not lose it this time. All right, let's see here. Let's start with the fact that if something doubles in price, that's an increase of 100%. Does that kind of make you start thinking about what you're hearing on the news? When the price of something doubles, that's a 100% increase. So gas in my town, it didn't just double, it tripled. At $1.77 a gallon, it went up to almost $5 a gallon. So you think about that. How many times can you put $1.77 into $5? Okay, I can't do the math that fast in my head, but I know that that's a heck of a lot more than 23% increase. When a loaf of bread doubles, that is not 23%, that's 100%. Real easy to do this. So if somebody says, oh, well, it's 10% of something. So maybe let's say we're spending $32.50 on something, maybe a new blender, okay? $32.50. Whoa. Now we could multiply this out. Like I said, if you 100% of $32.50 is $32.50. So if you add that together, okay, what do we got? 0, 0, carry the 1, that's 5. All right, so $65. So if the price of that thing, whatever it is, that blender went from $32.50 to $65, that's a 100% increase. That's 100% inflation. I don't care what anybody says. But we could say, let's calculate 10%. Now, how do you calculate 10%? You could do the math on this too, or you could move the decimal point. Either way, you get the same result. So if I have $32.50 again, let's try that, $32.50, and I want to know 10% of that, I can multiply it like that. All right, I'll do that real quick. Okay, so 0 times all this is 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and then 1 times all that, that's 0. Because remember, you move it over once. 0, and that's 5, and that's 2, and that's 3. There we go. 0, 0, 5, 2, 3. And you think, well, how does that help? Well, now what you do is you count up all the decimal points that you had in these original numbers. You kind of get this? So there are 4 decimal points, or 4 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10% of $32.50 is $3.25. It's that simple. Or what you could have done is I just moved the decimal point. When we're talking even numbers like that, if you're going 10%, you just move over 1 decimal point and it's $3.25. Okay, oops, too many zeros here. So I know that's 10% of that. All right, if I want 1% of $32.50, it's actually going to be $3.25. Well, in 1%, okay, this is 10%. This is 1%. Okay. So $3.25, you can't really say, well, and that's 3 cents. Okay, so 3 cents, and you can't do, or I'm sorry, it'll be 32 cents. Actually, it'll be 33 cents because this is a 5, so you round that up to the next number so you can drop that. So it's there we go, 33, so it's 33 cents. And I'm thinking of money again. So hopefully you get how this is working. It's pretty easy, it's pretty basic, I think. And then if you want to say the price of that went up 10%, well, now we know $32.50 was our original price. Gosh, I suck at this, don't I? $32.50 was our original price. It went up $3.25. So what do we got? 75.5. So now the new price is $35.75. Now, quite frankly, if that blender went up in price because gas prices went up, because minimum wage, got tripled in some places, truth be known, that blender probably did what we first thought of. It got doubled and it went up to $65. I've been to Walmart. I know how much these things are costing now. So that's probably enough to make you dangerous, right? I hope it's enough to make you ask questions. When the government, or I shouldn't say government, when the media is reporting on how well the economy is doing, oh, it's only gone up 8%, or the inflation has already only gone up 8%. I'm not sure where that's coming from, because I notice that a lot of things have doubled and tripled in price. When a loaf of bread used to be $1.29, and now you're lucky if you can get it for $4 or less, that's not an 8% increase. You want to know how those really odd numbers work like that? Okay, let's do it. Let's see how well I can do this, okay? So I'll take that 32.50 again, and I might have to get my calculator out, but I'll take my 32.50 again. And they say it only went up 8%. Well, we already know what 10% of that is. It's $3.25. So they're saying that it didn't go up 10% even. They're saying it went up 8%. Yeah, okay. Let's see how that works. 0, 0, 0, 0. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. 4, 8 times 2 is 16, and 4 is 20. That's 2. 8 times 3 is 24. Yeah, 26. There we go, because we had the extra 2 up there. See how bad I am at this? I mean, as far as my math in my head. I used to have this all memorized. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're saying that loaf of bread, and see, I counted my decimal points. They're saying that loaf of bread only went up $2.60. Yeah, I don't think so. Or they're saying that blender only went up $2.60. So they're not even saying it goes up 10%. They're saying it goes up 8%. So what about that gallon of gas? I mean, if a gallon of gas was $2, this one kills me. And this is where I really started asking questions. All right. Gallon of gas was $2. Okay, so 100% increase would be this. But in my world, it went up to $5 a gallon. So not only was 100%, but it took half of that, which is 50%. And this is what it went up to. It went up to $5 a gallon in my town. I don't know. I'm not seeing 8% here. 8% would be change. That would be 16 cents, because you take the 8 and you multiply it by 2, which is 16, and you add it to that. So that would be 16 cents. If my gas only went up 16 cents a gallon, do you think that I would be waiting for 2 or 3 months to put gas in my truck and just staying home? No, I wouldn't. I'd be driving out to see my grandkids more often. But this is what really happened. So, as I say, I'm not telling you, well, what I am telling you, I should say that. I'm telling you that that's how the math is done. I'm telling you that percentages aren't that complicated to calculate. It's pretty darn easy to come up with percentages, especially when it comes to money. It really is. But I'm telling you to ask questions. Question everything you hear. A lot of times, various companies, various entities, various people will spin the numbers to where it comes out making things look better than they truly are. Now, a friend of mine found a website that says how politicians, I guess, or the government comes up with these weird percentages like 8% inflation. Really? The website, let's see if I can find this here. I've got it on my notes. Here it is. It's www.brookings.edu. www.brookings, brookings.edu/articles. Maybe I should write that on the board here. See if I can get that up here on the board so you can see it. And I'll try to write it clearly so you can see what this is. Oh, there we go. Get a little room here, get a little closer. www.brookings.edu/ what's it say? Articles. ARTICLES. And then, oh, you're going to love this. How, just like it says, does the government there we go, measure inflation. That's the whole site there, okay? Oh, and I didn't spell inflation right. There we go. Got the L in there. So this is a site, look it up. I would love to explain this to you because I've read this article, but I've read it like 3 or 4 times. It's like, oh my God, it is so convoluted. What do they say? Something about, we got to look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We have to look at the Consumer Price Index, compare them to each other, average them out, then redo this once a month, and then every month, compare to another month 3 years ago, or even last year. And then it's like blah, 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 blah. I couldn't make sense of it. And then when I thought I was onto something, they went off on a different subject. They drug in like Social Security and they drug in retirement accounts and a bunch of other stuff. And it's like, I'm sorry, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I am so confused by this. And I think that's the point, is they want to confuse you. Certain people want to confuse you so that you don't ask questions and you kind of give up, you smile and nod and you walk away and say, oh yeah, I'm just going to believe them. Because, oh yeah, they're grown-ups, they have experience, they know more about this than me, so they must be experts. I'll tell you what, like I said in the beginning, just because somebody's a grown-up, just because they're older than you, just because they have different life experiences than you, doesn't mean that they're experts. They may just be doing what they were told to do. They may just be repeating what they were told to repeat. And they may be doing that for a multitude of reasons. But a lot of times it comes down to they're spinning these numbers, they're spinning this information in order to make somebody look good. Not necessarily to make you look stupid or feel stupid, but hopefully what they're doing is they're prompting you to ask questions. Don't believe everything you're told, and especially now. I'm sorry. I've never believed everything I've told. Well, maybe my parents, like I said, I would ask them and they always had the right answers and they always pointed me in the right direction. But my parents always had my best interest at heart. They wanted me to be smart. They wanted me to be successful. And I'd like to think your parents are the same way. But when you get out into the general public, you can't ever make that assumption. You have no idea what their agenda is. You have no idea what they want from you. The only people that have your best interest at heart, like I said, would probably be your parents, your family members, people who want to see you succeed. And that's really what it comes down to. I would like to see you succeed. I would like to see all of you understand how things work. Ask questions if you don't understand how they work, so that you can succeed, so you can make decisions based on all the information that you've gathered by asking questions. So I'll tell you what, if you have questions about any of this, if you would like to see more details on the math that I've done here, just send me an email, jan@lifeafter18.com. And if there's anything else that you'd like me to talk about, you're curious about something you don't know, I'm not going to tell you that I have all the answers, but I'm pretty good at researching and I have a lot of good resources. I ask a lot of questions. Oh yeah, I probably irritate a lot of people with all the questions I ask, because seriously, if I don't understand something, I'm going to keep beating on it, asking those questions until I have an answer that makes sense to me. I think they call it left-brained. I want to understand how things work. And if something is not logical, then I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy into it. So yeah, and I don't know, maybe that's just me, but you should be the same way. You should be asking questions. You should make sure you feel comfortable with that information. I don't care if you're 18 and a half, or if you're 45 and a half, or if you're 65 and a half. If you don't understand something, ask questions, and don't let people make you feel stupid because you're asking questions. That's their problem, not your problem. You're the smart one by asking and digging deeper. All right. Well, that's it for today's show. If you have questions, as I say, always email me, jan@lifeafter18.com. And check out my website. I have blog posts on there. I'm starting to post a lot of things about my bees and my garden and stuff like that too. But a lot of other things that come to mind. I just, I write things out. I make a lot of videos. I put them on the blog post now. But you can also sign up for the classes. And by the way, I'm going to be teaching a 4-H club called Life After 18 here real soon. Can't wait to tell you more about that. You might even see a video. Yay! Anyway, questions, comments, suggestions, jan@lifeafter18.com, or go to my website to learn more. That is lifeafter18.com. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.